So let's talk about technology a little bit. Staying on the bleeding edge can be dangerous, obviously, but there's always emerging trends that can help you do something you couldn't do before. That's providing your users with something that they couldn't do before. Easier, faster, cheaper, better. So do I stick with proven technology, or do I try something new? Alan?
Well, I think that exploring new technology is one of the ways that you can explore, you can put new ideas out there. But it's not the only one, and you could just try something new in your product or try a new business idea, and depending on what you're doing, if you're, let's say you're trying a new business idea, as something is truly new and novel, it may not serve you well to, at the same time, try and implement that using new and unproven technology, because then you're dealing with multiple vectors of risk rather than just focusing on one. So for example, I'm the product that I work on, eBay Desktop. The idea of a desktop application for eBay was not new. It was something that our users had wanted for a long time. And we had explored it in the past and found that it really wasn't feasible given the technology. So when the technology shifted, we saw an opportunity to try this idea again using this new technology. So with my product, we've been focusing on the newness of the technology rather than trying to really prove a wild and crazy idea. And I think that served us well instead of having to juggle multiple types of risk.
Ryan, give us the sort of blogosphere, the user perspective on that.
I think the best time to use a new technology is when it's actually going to help you get a competitive advantage. So I cover a lot of Flash and Flex applications on ZDNet, and I think in some cases those are bad uses of Flex. That's a bad use of a new technology because there was someone doing something better, a little bit more lightweight or something like that. But if you can incorporate the good parts of a new technology, in Flash, the video, audio capabilities, and then use that to your advantage and make yourself stand out from your competitors, then it makes sense to use new technology and take the plunge.
So what kind of users do you get when you embrace a new platform? You have to, a friend of mine came to me and said that there's this really great app that helps you pick wines and sort of learn about different types of wines. But what first hooked him was the fact that it was a Rails app. So there's this whole geek culture, right, that follows around the technology, not necessarily what is actually being delivered by the application. So what about these people that come when you embrace a new platform? How do you deal with that? Like, what kind of users are those? Alan?
It's certainly true, and just to provide my own example that's similar to yours, with desktop, we launched in beta last year, and we were one of the first applications built on Adobe Air, which is new technology. And given that we had no marketing budget, we chose to focus on the fact that we were using this new technology, both what we were using to implement the product, but also for a lot of our marketing. And that led to the fact that a lot of the people that are using the product today, so our initial group of users is heavily skewed towards a very tech-centric and technology-centric group of users. And you can see this because when we look at the data, we see that the #1 category of what people buy using eBay Desktop is video games. And that's like #4 on the regular site. And so we know that, and we can sort of keep that in mind, knowing that as we're trying to expand our user population to more mainstream users, we shouldn't necessarily take the feedback from our existing users as being the way that everybody thinks about something.
Conversely, obviously, you don't want to take this new tech group of users as the make decisions somewhere else on your platform because of these people that are coming because of newer technology.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're probably a lot more forgiving about bugs and those sort of things, and we could just choose to focus on them. A lot of web applications today, they're just trying to focus on a very niche audience. That's fine. But if that's not the same audience you're going after in the long term, you have to sort of keep that in mind. Trying to get coverage on TechCrunch means that you're going to get users who read TechCrunch, who are a very particular sort of person.
So Randy, do you ever use a new technology to your advantage to try to get users that would follow the technology?
Not that often, because we're really more interested in the mass audience, the audience that recognizes and has some loyalty to the Discovery brand. That said, there are certain expectations as to the quality of that brand and what people would expect of the brand on the web. And so to use an example, years ago we had something on the site called Earth Alert. It was very basic. It was, the interface was a globe, and we would just pinpoint things on the globe and people could track stories that were happening around the globe. It was really very basic. Really successful, very popular too, because people saw an interface that would allow them to track things going on around the planet. So for years we were thinking, we need to bring that back in a more meaningful way. And this past year, we launched something called Discovery Earth Live, where we used a lot of, we used Flex and Flash, and it's on a three-dimensional globe that allowed us to put satellite animations on it, so that we could take the sort of things that people are interested in, but allow them to layer different satellite animations on this globe. And so it wasn't pushing it so much. It's not that complicated, but it really focused on what we thought was an interest of our audience. That drives us more than the interest of a group that's more focused on how it works.